What's up, everyone? How's it going today? It's officially the new year, 2024, so I'm sure everyone has some New Year's resolutions trying to make 2024 the best year yet. Whether those New Year's resolutions be to finally lose those 5 pounds you've been looking to get rid of for the past 3 years, hit the gym more consistently, or maybe do some more cardio, you mad lad. Anyway, my goal with this video is to give you 5 tips to help you accomplish your fitness goals in 2024. So if that sounds good to you, let's go ahead and get started with number 1. Tip number 1 is to set a specific target for your goal. For example, the admirable but very broad goal of, I want to get in shape is not bad, but also not really that good either. So for example, you take a marathon runner versus C-Bum. You can make the argument both are in shape, but if your goal is to get jacked like C-Bum, obviously your training is going to look a lot different from that of the marathon runner. You're going to spend a lot more time lifting weights and a lot less time running. And vice versa. If you're training for the marathon, if you're trying to be like a marathon runner, then you're going to spend a lot less time lifting weights and more time running and stretching and trying to prevent overuse injuries. Not that you don't try to prevent overuse injuries as C-Bum. So if your goal is to get jacked like C-Bum, you might set something like put on 7 pounds of muscle this year. Hit my calorie goal 6 out of 7 times during the week, every week for the next couple of months. Something along those lines. And if your goal is to get in shape like a marathon runner, you might set a goal of run my next marathon with a 7.5 minute per mile pace. Something like that is a lot easier to measure than just getting in shape, and because it's a lot easier to measure, it's a lot easier to know if you're moving towards your goal or not. Alright, so now that you have your specific goal, the next step is to go into your calendar app and actually block out time to do the thing. Whether that be going to the gym, going for a run, doing yoga, doing what you need to do to make sure you accomplish your goal. Now this method is actually just called time blocking, and you can do it in any calendar app. Google Calendar, Apple Calendar. There are a bunch of other random calendar apps that I've never used, but they're out there. You can even do this on pen and paper if you wanted to. As you can do it for more than just your workout. You could do it for your whole week, for your whole schedule. So you could, for example, in Google Calendar, block out when you have to work, your meal times, any dentist, doctor appointments, and anything that's necessary that's a non-negotiable that you have to do. And now this will do a couple of things if you actually go in and block out your whole schedule. First, it lets you know when you can go work out, which is very important, because if you know when you're going to do something, you're more likely to actually do the thing. Number 2, it lets you know how long you have for each workout. If you know that you only have 30 minutes to work out on this day, then your workout that day will look very different from another day when you have like a whole hour and a half to work out. Obviously, on the 30-minute day, you're not going to be able to do as many exercises, and those exercises are probably going to only be compound movements, but on the hour and a half day, you could do big, heavy compound movements while also throwing in some accessories afterwards and maybe some stretching, some foam rolling to help recovery. Alright, tip number 3 is going to sound very simple, but it's really important that you consistently do this, and it's to track your workouts. So sticking with our 2 examples from earlier, marathon runner and someone trying to get jacked, if your goal is more cardio based, what you could do is track your mile splits, how many miles you're running, and those sorts of things. And if your goal is to get jacked, track the weight, number of sets, number of reps you're doing. And this way, each week you can progressive overload, go a little bit harder than last week. So if you're running, it might be to cut 10 seconds each mile. And if you're, I don't know if that's a lot or not, but, and if you're lifting, it could be to get a couple more reps in at the same weight, or just increase the weight. And tracking your workouts will do 2 things. Like I said, it lets you progressive overload, so constantly push yourself harder, But number 2, it also lets you see your progress. And if you see your progress, it's really addicting because it makes you want to keep going harder and harder and push yourself even more. Moving on, tip number 4 is to change your environment. So this is something James Clear talks a lot about in his book, Atomic Habits, which if you haven't read yet, I'd really recommend checking this one out. But one of the many things he talks about is setting up your environment so that good habits are easier to form and creating friction so it's easier to stop bad habits. So if you have the goal of losing, say, 10 pounds over the course of the year, one way you could obviously increase friction is just by not buying snacks. When you go to the supermarket, avoid the snack aisle altogether, because if you're like me, you can't have any kind of snack, any kind of chocolate in the house without your fingers turning into chocolate magically. So that creates friction, and then so we want to eat healthy, so what you could do is have a bowl of fruit just laid in plain sight in your house, and that way whenever you're hungry you just see the fruit, you grab an apple, a banana, an orange, something. And then if your goal is to get to the gym, what you could do is actually lay out your gym clothes the night before, prep your water the night before, and that way in the morning all you have to do is put on your gym clothes, grab your water, and head to the gym. Maybe eat breakfast if you think you need it. And this works for lots of habits besides just trying to get to the gym or eat healthy. You just kind of have to be creative about ways you can make your environment more conducive to good habits you're trying to form, and also create friction to limit the bad habits you want to get rid of. The last tip for this video is to avoid an all or nothing mindset. And now what I mean by this is realize there are going to be hiccups along the way. Sometimes if your goal is to get to the gym 4 times in a week, sometimes just life happens and maybe you can only get to the gym 3 times that week. Still, go hard for those 3 times you're able to get to the gym, and then the next week make sure you get there 4 times. If some of your coworkers bring donuts into work and you accidentally eat one of the donuts without thinking, don't just use that as an excuse to take the rest of the day off from your diet. Eat healthy the rest of the day. It's fine to mess up every once in a while, or even take a day off every once in a while, as long as you get back after it later that day or the next day. Alright, if you have any tips to help people go after their New Year's resolutions, let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this one or found it helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Justin Japan. And I'll see you next time. Peace.